I'm really honored and humbled and really just a bit overwhelmed. I was telling somebody, it's a little bit like, I guess it can be like heaven. And you see old friends you've not seen for 40 years come together. And it's just so nice. And I'm sure some of you have not seen one another for a long time too. In fact, I think it was Brian who said, I was present at your wedding 38 days ago. Now I must be present at this time. I'm so happy that he's here with his wife. I just so appreciate it. Just to share a little bit of the weightage I feel. Connie and Ellen just came in at 6:45 and said they landed at 7:30, all the way from San Francisco. I thought if I'm after San Francisco trip, I'll be like, But actually I didn't know about this until very, very late. To put the record straight, Jim is not resting, he's in Tonga. He's almost 80 and he's still running around and he's serving the NAV in Tonga. And my immediate supervisor, Jiho from Malaysia, is somewhere in Japan, also running some navigator work. So all my leaders were kind of busy. So I was so pleased when I heard that Alan is coming. I'm just so grateful that he's here. Of course, I have many friends from Grace Baptist here, pastors who are dear friends and mission agencies. All I can say is just a little bit overwhelming for me. In particular, my church is an interesting one. It's my home church. I've been there ever since 82, I think. And at one stage, I think it was in 08, 09, when the church ran out of pastor. I was an elder then. And so they said, Meng, the current pastor is going to be gone. Can you stand in for us? So I said, okay, now I'll check with my national director. So I was doing the navigator work at the same time, and they called me a full-time elder. And that was like about almost a year. Actually, it was 9 months. And then before they found another pastor. So one of the interesting things, just a side comment, was that I'm a full-time elder, but I was deputizing like a senior pastor at the church. And I don't like to do funerals. I mean, I don't know about you, a lot of people do funerals. I don't like. So I said, no, it's kind of impossible prayer request, but can you help me during this time? Nobody dies. And strangely enough, they're very peculiar, and they gave me a farewell at the end of the day. And I said that, during 9 months, I didn't have a single funeral to perform. I kept all of you alive because I prayed nobody died. I mean, sometimes when you pray and the Lord listens to you, you look peculiar, very funny, but they have, and then midday after that, the next pastor, he came, all the funerals looked something. Hold up. But honestly, the navigator work just built upon so many people, and I'm so grateful to the work that was done before me. Doug was here for 7.5 years, and then before that was Thomas, and then Kim Tong. And really, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, and none of us are in this alone. Supporters and friends, mission agency, we don't do all this alone. In fact, actually, when we come up to the ground floor, there's a plug down there. We dug it up. Somehow it was kept on site, so we dug it up and said, put it back on again, because it says in that plug, even though it's not well seen, it's dedicated to the glory of God. I mean, none of us do this for ourselves, none of us do anything unless God calls us to. We're going to do this together as a body of Christ. The Navigator is a great agency, but it's only one of very many that God called us to partner together with churches and other agencies so that we make the Great Commission happen and share the love of Jesus to other people. We're all part of everybody else. It's just that we're privileged that God has called us. Those of us who have been around in the 70s and 80s. I remember David Lee, who was my ministry leader then. I was a 17-year-old boy, wet behind the ears, and he met me in some Starbucks store and drink coffee. And taught me simple things like the wheel, the word hand. And I was a kind of a lost boy because my dad wasn't around. And here was this older gentleman who took me like a son. And just invested time in me, teaching me the basic quiet time and stuff like that we learned in the early navigator days. And those were deep impressions. I had other leaders who were before me. In fact, I counted so many leaders, I thought I feel like a child with many fathers. Everybody's my leader. On the other hand, we want to learn from everybody. So over the years, I'm just so grateful that the Lord has allowed me to learn from everybody else. And actually, if you ask me, coming on at this stage in life was a bit strange because some years ago we had a silent retreat, and I came across this set of verses from Isaiah 49:2, which read this way. It says, He made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of His hand He hid me. He made me a polished arrow. In His quiver hid me away. The way the verse spoke to me then was, Meng, are you ready to respond to God's call whenever it is? And one of the things I pray for myself is, you have heard the age of my children. My oldest is 35 this year now, and my youngest is 26 this year. I'm not exactly a young man anymore. But I say, Lord, don't let me become what I call a bitter old man with a lot of frustration, a lot of this and that. But to say that, God, if my heart is kept ready like a quick arrow, like a scabbard, if I draw the scabbard, if I shoot the arrow, it should still fly. If If I draw the sword in the scabbard, it should still be sharp. So Lord, keep my heart pure and don't let me be nursing wounds and disappointments and unhappiness, and just surrender them to you. Say, God, let me be ready for the next call. So when they picked me up in November and 22nd and says, Meng, you're the next guy, I said, oh, okay, fine. And I was a bit overwhelmed still. Then 8 days later, this is very strange. 8 days later, I landed in Mauritius. Mauritius is about 7 hours away, just for geography's sake. Africa is here, it's a big island, Madagascar, and that's one little island behind called Mauritius. Before that, I didn't know where it was. And so I went there, there were 19 couples, 11 from Africa, and the rest of us from the rest of the world. They planned this for 10 new NDs, 6 from Africa and 4 from Asia Pacific. And I went there, I thought, wow, you did this for me? I mean, I'm the latest, I was the last name in on the 22nd, so if I wanted to go on December the 1st, it would be impossible with flight and accommodation. Somebody else took the trouble to book the tickets, make sure that I had a place there. When I landed there, I was like, it's a little bit overwhelming. Then I remember the verse in 1 Corinthians 2:9, it says, but God is prepared for those who love Him. And I'm just a little bit like, nothing to do with how great I am, but just that the Lord has prepared this, and I'm just, okay, Lord. After 60 years of Navigator history, they have the first MD school. And it was beautiful, it was rich, it was great, and they gave us a thumb drive, 15 hours of instruction. Now you know how to be an MD. I'm going to share all that with the youth and staff because I think that everybody should learn how this because it's so important. I'm just grateful that the Lord prepared this, and I'm just overwhelmed. In fact, leaders have foresight to say that 2 years down the road or whatever they plan, that there will be 10 new NDs and we can do this. In fact, I told Mutua, the internet president, now all the NDs in the world put out their hand. Can we have 1, 2? Nobody do this for us when we were NDs or whatever. And you probably need a few, like 10 to make it happen or whatever. And you cannot have 2 new NDs and then have a school for you. So I was really, really grateful that this happened. And just overwhelmed that at this point in my life, God has said, okay, I'm prepared this for you to do the job. In fact, I think Chuck Broughton sent me a newsletter from his Christmas meeting. I like to verse a lot in Galatians 4:4. In the fullness of time, God sent forth His Son, and one to a woman born under the law. But the phrase he used was at the proper time. So I said, okay, this is the time that God has allowed me to serve, and I'm ready, and I want to do my best, and to require prayers from everyone else. Just as a kind of a conclusion to this thing, because many of us will smell the food already. You know, when I was in church on January 1, and I was just kind of praying, said, Lord, 2017 is, a lot of people say it's a bad year, economy, Donald Trump, what have you, a lot of apprehension going on China. So it's almost like you read the newspaper, you read the Facebook, you read the WhatsApp, it's just flooded with doomsday prophecy. I said, Lord, is there a way that you can tell us, at least for me and for my friends, what does 2017 hold? And typical enough, I read the Bible. So when I come to 2 Chronicles 20:17, it's an interesting story about Jehoshaphat. The Lord said to him, you will not need to fight in this battle. Stand firm, hold your position, and see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf, O Judah and Jerusalem. Do not be afraid and do not be dismayed. Tomorrow, go out against them, and the Lord will be with you. I think that again because such a beautiful rendering. 2 Chronicles 20:17. You will not need to fight in this battle. Stand firm, hold your position, and see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf, O Judah and Jerusalem. Do not be afraid and do not be dismayed. Tomorrow, go out against them, and the Lord will be with you. In fact, they didn't have to fight next day. They fight one another, they kill themselves. It took 3 days for them to pick up all the loot. I thought, it's a bit nice phrase, but Lord, is this going to be true for us, for me, for all my friends in Singapore and the rest of the world in 2017? Well, my life verse is in Isaiah 64:4. It says, from of old, no one has heard or perceived by the ear, no eye has seen a God beside you, who works for those who wait for Him. I believe that rather than what the newspaper say, in fact, after this last year, I begin to not believe in the newspaper anymore. They got it all wrong. They want to study the Trump thing and all that. And what I read and what I hear from WhatsApp and so on and so forth, I don't believe in what people say or read or even what is kind of talking to you. I want to believe it's what the Bible says, what the Word of God says. And God saying that, trust me, Meng. The rest of us who are in this room, trust me because God says, I will work it out for you. I will help you. You don't have to fight. You don't have to just stand there and watch the Lord and work. And you will do a great victory for His glory and in our midst. So I want to just kind of share that with you because it was such an encouragement to me. Immediately after that, I have a few other incidents I will not elaborate. People begin to say that, hey, this is happening, this is happening. Trust the Lord, He will work it out for you. So whatever you're facing this year, 2017, pastors, mission agencies, fellow workers and the navigators, my friends, family, and all the rest of it, trust the Lord, He will work it out for you.